let's say this, okay?
Couldn't stand to even discuss was Dougie McBuckets.
In round one, okay, this is round one of the Turner. So basically, this debate we're going to be having all year, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be the Turner McBuckets versus Thompson and the TPE. That's right.
Could have been yours.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the WWE. That's the tag team matchup. We're going to be running it all year long.
We got round 2 in 2 days. It's perfect.
Turner and McBuckets, round 1 versus Thompson and the TPE. Who's the winner?
That's the difficulty of this. That TPE.
Who wins round 1?
Round 1 goes to Turner and McBuckets by far. Not even close.
Big time.
Think of it like this. Turner and McBuckets, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 5 blocks by Turner, by the way. Elite shot blocker. Has been for a few years.
Let's be real, because we give everyone a hard time here. Okay. Turner has no semblance of an offensive game.
Yeah.
He looked drunk to start the game.
And his 3-point shot is the release on it is different every single time he takes it. It's like me golfing,
and he loves taking them.
I change it every single time, like I'm constantly changing my swing. His jumper looked different every time he took it, that's a weird, ugly looking shot, big moon ball,
He's better in the block, much better in the mid range. But when you have Sabonis on your team, though, I mean, you're not getting any of those touches anymore. That's out the window.
Sabonis has polish, Turner has
no game. My point, when you have a weapon like that, you're not going to get any more touches anymore. Like, that's it. Like, you have an established scorer, so it's tougher for him to get his touches.
Yeah.
He gets touches. He just jacks them away with threes. The problem with
the 3 too, he can't wait to shoot it. When he's back there, as soon as it touches his hand, it's gone. Like, he really wants to be that guy.
But John, that's what Brad likes. Stevens,
but he's not good
enough. He wants to see that at tight.
His percentage is up slightly last year, but he's still not. He still doesn't hit it at a good enough clip to be back there.
The ball's in his hands a lot, and it would be here as well. And it's a 0-assist game from him. He doesn't run the offense great from the high post. And I still think the reason this trade doesn't work is because a player like him, excellent shot blocker. We now have a 5-block game, an 8-block game this year. But you're paying $18 million for a shot blocker. When you have Rob Williams, when you have the possibility,
he has 5 blocks and his blocks per game went down.
Yeah. So I just don't think it's worth it. They get flexibility from not trading Hayward and not adding this
8 and 4. I think he's 8-4-5. He was averaging 6 blocks coming in. His 5 blocks.
I get what you're saying, Bobby, but that just sounds fun. We've been watching Celtics for years, and we just never seen something like that. The closest thing is what, KG. It's sort of like, this is why we got so excited about Jeff, because it's like, wait, is that Eddie? We haven't seen these guys in so long. Like, a shot blocker and a knockdown 3-point scorer that can just come in and light it up.
Let's imagine this game if the trade happened.
Sean Williams could have been that guy.
Gordon Hayward scores, 25 to 28 for the Pacers tonight. Pacers win a close one.
Shout out.
And Myles Turner is jacking threes on the Celtics side. We'd be losing our minds. We'd be having the Myles Turner. Oh my God, did they get screwed over in this trade?
But everybody gets to do whatever they want here, and it's okay in the Boston offense.
Yeah, as long as you play defense.
You want.
Right.
That's what worries me too with him. So I just never want anything to do with him.
Brad's going to be thrilled. Do what you want on offense. It's all yours.
Shoot if you want. It's what makes you confident.
Do you want that ISO Turner you were talking about? You want to do that? Let's do it.
This is the problem with this right now. We're getting all the games out of the way early, and there's no TP arrival until later in the season. So this one's going to be hard to judge.
It's a hard debate to have.
And Thompson's not right either, so it's tricky right now. But this is a Pacers team that's been honing themselves for a couple of years now with this group. TJ Warren still looks like his bubble self. I thought he was fantastic tonight. That's a good team. I don't agree with Jimmy that they would beat Boston in a 7-game series, but they're a playoff team. Some people didn't have them in the playoffs.
That's not the question. Let's ask everybody. I'll ask Jimmy first because I know the answer, but the question before the season was, where do the Celtics kind of slot in? And again, all of the caveats, and disclaimers ahead of time. It's 3 games. Things change. We're not judging the team based off of a 3-game performance, but just looking at this team and its roster and looking at other teams, where do you think they slot in? And there's a lot of NBA experts that still had the Celtics in that upper echelon bubble, of the 1-2, not 1-2, but I mean, it felt like they were really no lower than 3 in most people's estimation. And for us, I was thinking more in the middle of the pack, closer to teams like Indiana. So, Jimmy, I'll start with you. I mean, is there a huge difference between these two teams? Granted, it's a 1-point game tonight. No Oladipo, no Kemba Walker. Call that a wash, I guess. But I mean, what do you think?
No, absolutely. And I got bashed in the comments by saying,
you had patience with other Celtics. Yeah.
No, I didn't. I had him right there, but I said I was like, I think Indy's roster is better than the Celtics roster right now.
Oh yeah, that's what you said. That's what you said.
They have an excellent coach too. They really do. I like this guy. Yeah.
I got bashed, but I think now, like John said, we're only a few games in. But if you're still sitting there thinking the Celtics are a 2 seed and the Pacers are a 7 seed, I got bad news for you, buddy, because it's not that far. You're not that far off from the Pacers right now.
Right. This would be a coin flip 7-game series, and it wouldn't shock me if the Celtics would beat them in 5 games or whatever. I mean, it's absolutely possible, but you wouldn't with confidence say, "Oh yeah, they got this." This is a good enough team to absolutely give the Celtics trouble. This felt like a pretty balanced game.
Celtics went in as 2-point favorites and they lost.
Yeah.
I feel like the Celtics fans who don't think that the Indiana Pacers are anywhere near the Celtics are the same ones that had the Celtics slotted at number 3 in the East. Let's be real, guys. That's not the case. Not before the season started, and it certainly isn't now. I put the Celtics at 5th, and I think Indy is probably 6th. They're right there. So I don't understand where this gap is coming from, or maybe this is before this game. But if you still feel that way after what you saw, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, because the Indiana Pacers, they did it again. I'm glad you brought that up. They did this without Oladipo, who has a lot to prove after last season. And 2, they made them uncomfortable. I mean, the Celtics really had to fight for this. They tacked on 39 third-quarter points. If the Celtics didn't get on that run right before the fourth quarter, this thing could have been out before it even got to midway through the fourth quarter. I give the Celtics for fighting, though. I do. I give them credit for that. But Indiana Pacers, they're not that far off.
60 points in the paint for Indiana.
They're gonna get Oladipo back too for the next game. So there's their front man.
39 without Oladipo. No sleep on Brogdon. Okay, 15 second half points, and he made it look easy. When Marcus Smart went down, I was like, if Marcus Smart didn't come back, I was like,
that team. What? I want to go back to the conversation we were having in the offseason. It feels like everything's centered on Turner as the only option, because that's what the reports were late. But earlier in the offseason, when they were talking about Oladipo theoretically for a Hayward trade, and everyone's like, I don't know, redundancy with Kemba. Like, are we kidding? You think the Celtics wouldn't have been better with Victor Oladipo on this team? I'm baffled by the thinking that people were going through here. It's like you had the luxury of picking which really good player you would get.
Is he out there tonight, though?
Huh?
Is he out there tonight?
Is
I mean, that's
Kemba?
the problem. Well, that's true too, but it wasn't Kemba for Oladipo, And if we're being honest about it,
redundancy with Kemba and Oladipo. But again, good players are good players. You get them wherever you can get them. The problem with the Celtics is not enough talent on the team beyond the first few players on the team, the first 3, 4, 5 guys. I mean, there's just not enough talent right now. You're digging deep. You got Pritchard playing 20+ minutes every game right now because he's just in pure talent. He might be the 5th most talented player on the team at this moment.
Yeah, that one's tricky. I don't think
he might be, right?
Yeah,
I don't think a deal would have got done there without Turner.
He's like just 7 Come on.
It's not about the deal. It's just about the fact that Celtics fans were like, well, we don't know if we really want him. By the way,
I don't want him.
Celtics are going to have to treat Kemba the same way the Pacers are treating Oladipo. He's going to play he's not going to play back-to-backs. When Kemba Walker comes back, he's not just going to keep coming back full force. Like, he's going to have to take games off too.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, John admitted the difference here. There's structural damage with Oladipo. He's struggling to get back from 2 years going now. And Kemba just feels like more of a management thing. I'd rather have Kemba than Oladipo. I totally
disagree. I think Kemba, in fact, structural with Oladipo, and he hasn't regained his full athletic form, whereas Kemba's is degenerative and will continue to get worse over time. It might be managed to the point that you don't see the drop-off instantly, but I'm extremely worried about Kemba this is arthritic. This does not get better. Okay. And they're doing Hail Mary treatments now. I think they'll get him back on the court, but I don't know that we'll see. We'll see. But again, this is the type of thing where it doesn't get better. You're hoping you can just stop
Well,
time.
You'd be talking about two guys in that position with the Hayward.
You could. All I'm saying is we're just speaking to the talent level on the Celtics right now.
Right,
Clearly, this is what we're looking at. Is you're looking for that lineup, and once you get past Jalen, Jason, and Marcus, I don't know who you want on the court.
No, it's a bad, but that they got the flexibility and they got to make a move down the line. Here.
You're starting Thompson and Tice,
you have no flexibility,
and neither one was good enough.
I mean, you mean for trades, right, Bobby?
Yes, I mean they have flexibility to make moves down the line. They got to do it, and they got to do it right here. But we're not judging this trade off today, where Thompson's barely healthy coming back, and the Pacers are who they're. You know why we heard all this noise about the Pacers over the offseason? Because they would be the perfect team right now with Gordon Hayward. It would solve all of their problems, and they really need to get it done, and they didn't, and they're kind of stuck as a roster right now because of the fact that they didn't get it done. I mean, you look at this roster right now with Turner gone and Hayward in, who's scoring 28 points in Charlotte right now. I mean, they'd be a top half East team. So all that noise was coming from the Indiana side. They needed to get this done. Boston, it was like, Oladipo's not great. Turner's not great. Doug McDermott, is he solving we're talking about defensive issues in Boston, not offensive issues. So I'm just sick of hearing about all these.
Doug McDermott start on this team right now.
He's an offensive shooter. He doesn't give you anything on defense.
I'm asking right now on this team, would he start?
Probably not.
Yes. Ahead of Tice in this lineup tonight, yes, he would have.
Especially because of the size? Yeah, I think so.
Size and the ability to score.
The more I think about it, guys, I feel like the more I think about it, or the more as time goes on, was TJ Warren a breaking point of that trade talks? Because I could just see Danny being like, just going for it. I want TJ. And they were like, no, we're not giving you TJ. And he just like, you know what?
He's the only good piece out of all those guys. Oladipo's broken. Turner's not good.
I don't know why, man. I get this gut-wrenching feeling that he just got upset that he wasn't getting TJ Warren and said, you know what? No trade. And maybe that bites in the ass. Maybe it doesn't, though. We still have time to figure things out. But right now, they're not going to use that TB within the next couple of weeks. You have to wait to see.
I'm telling you right now.
You have to wait to see how other teams are going to pan out and hope that, some players become available that can address at least the wing position.
Yeah, maybe they can go get a McDermott type.
call Indiana.
You guys are unbelievable. I mean, McDermott's a good shooter, and that's it. And he makes $5 million.
He's not nearly as bad defensively as people say. He's fine. He's not a star. What we're saying is right now, this team has no offense. Okay, beyond
the guys that. Right.
Yeah.
The big.
It would have been great to get Warren and McDermott, but that trade probably wasn't there, and it seems likely Warren was off the table. Like, this all just goes back to Turner. Did you want Turner? The Celtics say no, and there's no deal there to be had. Oladipo, you could maybe second guess that one, but like I'm just still imagining this world tonight where Hayward's on the Pacers and Turner's on the Celtics, and it probably could have gone worse than what we saw tonight. The way Hayward probably would have fit in on that.
Bobby. You don't believe that on this team?
Do you see what Hayward's doing in Charlotte? I mean, he would have been fitting in on.
I'm saying for Boston. For Boston.
I mean, what does Turner really add that you don't have right now? Like, the center position's been fine for them.
Scoring big,
yeah. They need
more scoring. He had what, 8 points?
Well, because he doesn't. It's pretty clear he just doesn't fit.
Brad's relying on Grant Williams
the right way on that team. Anyways, we can't go down this road.
No, we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna do it again when the conversations again
on Wednesday.
We get to do it on 2 straight.
I always this is the last thing I'll say about it. Right? I always say, and I said
we gotta get to those
months ago or whenever we first started this conversation. Right? It's not. I feel like, Bobby, you're focused more on the players, their talent and their contracts. It's not more about that. It's more about what they do and what the Celtics badly need right now. Yeah, it won't put them way up the top or whatever, the food chain, but it could really push this thing along quicker than we're seeing right now. I know it's still early, but at the same time, it's just you watch those two guys tonight, and it's like, again, what I said is like they could have been on the Celtics, or maybe it was one player away from getting it done, and maybe that would answer some of these problems right now for the Celtics. Short-term problems for the Celtics.
I'll listen to Oladipo. Turner's not short-term because he signed through 2023, and that matters.
I'm not crazy about Oladipo. That's John's guy, but yeah, okay.
I'd give you Oladipo because there's star upside there, and you're flipping damage star for damage star. Maybe something works out there. It's a 1-year deal.
I don't think there's any bad combination between Oladipo, freaking McDermott, Turner. Which 2 of the 3 I'll take? I don't know. I wouldn't have.
For a guy like Turner, whose value is definitely shaky around the league, that 23 thing really did matter. If you're carrying around 18 million, paying tax this year too for Myles Turner, it just wouldn't have been good team management. Like we talk about Danny letting Hayward go for nothing being bad management, would have been even worse to pay for Turner, have that stuck on the books for 3 years, and be in the tax for Myles Turner. Like, are we seriously talking about Turner being a difference maker in this team being, maybe a 4 or 3 seed, but he's not getting them back in contention?
That's, again, the issue is
you don't just trade for anybody just because and start paying tax. You got to be a contender, and Myles Turner doesn't make you a contender.
Will they be with a TPE? Do they have any tradable assets to get better? Do they have draft positions to get better? The Celtics, the reality is the Celtics have very few avenues to get better. Very few right now. The TPE is not that avenue. The TPE is a couple of guys who are going to be quality rotation players at best or not used at all. Okay? That's it. There's no avenue to getting better.
Yeah.
After that, that's the point. Is in a different world, it makes sense when you're hoarding assets and you're like, we can move things later. And they're gone. There's nothing left. There's no path anymore. So you have to take some swings and see if you hit, or else accept this, which is picking in the middle to the late. Now picking in the 20s in the draft with Nesmith and Romeo and Rob Williams and Grant Williams and a TPE as what you have backing up your stars. That's not great.
So if we go the other way, you have Turner, who's negative value, puts you in the tax, probably not a trade asset.
How did we get the negative value?
He's an $18 million. He's an $18 million shot blocker who signed for 3 years. Who's going to want that?
Yo, why are you making it sound like he's freaking Bennett or like
Ben Wallace.
Greg Oden in like his 3rd season or something? Jeez, like
look at what he did. He's 3 for 10. He's an okay rebounder. He's a great shot blocker, and he makes $18 million for 3 years. And then you talk about McDermott, a guy on a 1-year, $5 million deal. He may help your bench a little bit right now. But what we're talking about with the Celtics,
a rental, yes, I'll take a rental.
And what they ended up doing, they have Thompson, who I still think is going to be a great piece, and a TPE that allows you to trade for anybody. That's vital flexibility.
We got some. I'm gonna bump around here.
This is gonna be a war all year long.
Look, I don't think Turner and McDermott don't make you a contender. Neither does the TPE. Losing Gordon for not able to swing a good trade for Gordon and then not having Gordon was the killer. Not turning down that trade. I don't know that's the big difference maker for the team. So even though we'll debate it, that's actually not really the issue.
Let me get Jimmy on this one more time.
Yeah.
Jimmy, would you rather have Turner or Thompson?
All things being equal, or what?
Yeah, that Thompson
means Turner and TPE.
Well, no, it's one or the other. You couldn't get Thompson if you got Turner, so it really is one or the other here. So yeah,
I'd probably still take Turner. I'm not gonna. I mean, I haven't seen it enough from either guy to change my original opinion. And again, I like Thompson, but I think Turner has more upside. That's really what it comes down to. You don't. You think that Turner is just an $18 million shot blocker. I think that he's the guy that. And again, what we said was that you're only going based on Turner's past. You're not accounting for the fact that maybe Brad Stevens can turn him into something more. I mean, isn't that half the reason why the Celtics brought Brad Stevens on as a coach, so that he can take these players and make them better? Is that still a thing that Brad Stevens is capable of doing or not? Because if he is, then you can't just take Turner for what he is. You have to assume that he can improve in 3-point shooting, in his passing, or he's already an elite shot blocker, solid defender. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd still.
It's
with
fair
Thompson
point.
again.
It's a tough call.
Thompson's
He may be
above
past the point. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he is.
He may be past the point of turning into something else. This might be what he is. A good weak side, a good help side defender, weak side shot blocker. And unless that 3-pointer all of a sudden gets much better,
He needs to. Yeah, he needs to.
And I'll keep going back to this.
That's why I'm bringing up like Anthony Bennett and like these big men bust that were like in year 3 and people are like, oh, we're not quite sure.
Those guys didn't make 18
That's
million.
not Myles Turner, man. Don't make it sound like he's a bust.
The contract, the years, all that stuff matters when you're building the team. All things being equal, if you were just taking him and the contract didn't matter and all that stuff, sure. But he's got a pretty big second deal here, and that ended up mattering to them. That's the reason they didn't do it. So
that contract, worst case scenario, that contract does expire before you need to re-sign Tatum or Brown. It's not like
great. So at the end of this whole window, they'll be off of it in 4 years.
Well, no, I mean I'm just saying. I mean he's not going to hinder your re-signing of anybody that you now.
It will be freaking hilarious when we use the TPE to get Turner.
Oh no way! Last thing on Turner.
It'll be hilarious.
And we're all right. We're all right then.
Then I'll be taking Jimmy's point. He played for Greg Popovich on Team USA with the Celtics, and it was the same thing. I'm going to keep going back.